What's going on? Welcome back to Mo Air. On today's podcast, we welcome a guest, Coy. As some of you might know him as the Mile High Pilot, he's a private pilot who enjoys flying for fun in Colorado, and he's been doing this for quite a while. He's been doing it since he was about 15. All right, Coy, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, what's up, Mo? It's good to see you. Yeah, basically, I live in South Denver. I've been in aviation since I was about 15. I started in Civil Air Patrol, and
Oh, nice.
yeah, that was it was crazy. I had no idea I was gonna get into it. My parents were never into it. My entire family is incredibly terrified of flying, so I'm just that the crazy part, the black sheep, I guess, of the family. Got into it, and then I didn't get my license until 2011, believe it or not. But I've
Oh, wow.
I've was in Civil Air Patrol, just kind of got hours here and there. My first solo was at Buckley Air Force Base. That was pretty wild. I had a couple A-10s take off right after me, like the first time I'd
Oh,
ever been in the air by myself.
that's
So I was
awesome,
like,
man.
yeah, yeah, that was amazing.
What'd you fly in the Civil Air Patrol? What kind of aircraft there?
It was a 172.
Nice. So where I did my training at, kind of had a Air Force base close by. You know, Whiteman Air Force Base, where they keep the B-2s at.
Yeah, yeah.
So I trained right next to that in Warrensburg. So I was doing a instrument training flight with my CFI one time, and he said, "Take your foggles off and look out your window." And I did, and there was a B-2 going underneath us taking off
Oh,
because we were on
wow.
the departure end of Whiteman's airport.
No
It was really cool.
way. Dude,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So that's kind of crazy. You kind of grew up in aviation in the same type of area with
Yeah.
some Air Force pilots flying around you.
Oh, yeah. I spent 10 years in the Air Force working on F-16s
Oh
as an
wow,
electrician, and we deployed with them, a couple times, and the things that you'd see, like type of helicopters and other type of aircraft that you're like, man, I've never seen that before. What the heck is that? And unmanned, and you name it. It was just
that's
wild.
that's awesome, man. So we know that you flew for with the Civil Air Patrol, and then you were in the Air Force. But let's go all the way back to the beginning. So what started Coy's interest in aviation as a kid or as a teenager? What was your first like? I have to get an aviation moment.
Oh man. So the unit I was in, I think I was like 15, yeah, maybe 16. And the Civil Air Patrol unit was not a flying unit. It was just like we didn't have like a search and rescue branch off of ours. And so a buddy of mine, it'd be crazy if he saw this. He's in Japan now as a wing commander in the Air Force, but he was getting into it, and he was our Civil Air Patrol commander at the time, and I wanted to be the commander, and uh, he he started flying. I'm like, I'll take an orientation flight, and it was crazy. That I think the moment that got me was I was just sitting in this 172, and I looked over, and the pilot was, I swear, he had to have been at least like 75. And I'm like, are you going to make it through this flight? And then I just looked forward at all the gauges. I'm like, I have no idea what does what, but I guess he knows how to get us in the air, and we did it, and just flew around for a while. And it's either that moment or what is it called, the Young Eagles or the Eagles or something like that,
Yeah, I
where
have
you
no
could
idea. I
get
haven't heard of that one.
there's I don't know if it's nationwide, but at least here in Colorado, some guy had like an RV7 or something, and took me up, and we did a bunch of barrel rolls and loop the loops and stuff like that. And
That would
he
be
gave me
cool.
the stick, and he's like, just do a pushover like a 0G. And I went into the negative G's, and the engine shut off.
Uh
So I didn't know what I was
oh.
doing. I was pretty
Yeah,
young, but
that's
yeah,
awesome.
I thought that was pretty fun.
That's really cool. So you were in the Civil Air Patrol for a little while, and then you went on into the military. What flying did you do in between there, other than Civil Air Patrol? Did you start doing class like courses, or did you start learning it at that point? Or
I wish I would have done more flying. I tried to get I tried to get a commission while I was enlisted in the Air Force, but that never came about. I focused on my engineering degree and other things.
Nice.
But I didn't do much flying. A couple hours here and there. I only have 220 now. You know,
Yeah,
since
that's still good.
2011. Yeah, that's not
Yeah,
too bad, huh?
that's really good though.
But
Yeah. So I mean, technically, if you think about it this way, you only got to get 250 to get a commercial rating. So
oh
you
yeah,
know,
that's true. Yeah.
you're almost there with the same level of time as the kids that are getting their commercial rating, but you've done it all in like the same airplane, so you probably could fly that better than anybody else can. But the area that you're flying in is way different than like what I fly in. So you're up in the mountains where you have to worry about density altitude a lot more than I do, and how the airplane's going to perform. You need farther landing distances, takeoff distances. You're going to climb slower. So you really got to worry about your weight and CG a little more than I had to in a 172.
Oh man, the way you're describing that right now reminds me of this moment I had with this guy out on the ramp. I was just, doing my pre-flight, and this guy comes up. He's like, "Yo, what's up, man? I just got my license yesterday, and I booked this aircraft. I'm gonna fly to, where was it? The Four Corners area, and
Oh
land
no.
in Pagosa." And I'm like, it's none of my business, dude. But good luck.
Yeah. Like, have you
that,
done any kind of research at all first? Or you just, let's go?
that was wild. That was
That it,
insane just to hear that. I just assumed like he had like at least a couple hundred, but maybe 50, 60. I don't know.
wow. That's insane. So, what is for you the most challenging thing of flying in that altitude? Like, what is your normal density altitude? I would say.
Oh man. So I usually take off out of Centennial or BJC, Rocky Mountain Metro Airport in Broomfield. Uh, there's a sign. There's like a little digital readout. I forget. I think it's on the north side of Centennial. Correct me if I'm wrong, whoever's watching this. But I remember taking off a few times when it was like 90. I'm gonna say, for the record, 94, because we're not allowed
Oh
to fly
wow.
when we're not. It's 95 out here, but it's
Right.
definitely 94. And
Wow.
the readout was like 9,000 feet, the
Oh wow.
density altitude. And I just looked over my instructor like, do you see that sign? Are you reading what I'm reading? We're gonna
You're
do
like,
it
hey,
anyways. Okay.
bro, we only got like 4,000 feet left in this airplane. You know.
Yeah, yeah, definitely no spins today, no
Right.
stalls. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just gonna get up and fly as straight as we can. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
standard
awesome.
turns, everything.
Right. Yeah. 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 That's cool. So you own a 172 that you fly all the time now, correct?
You know, uh, I think I saw a couple of videos of yours where you finance, right? Can I mention that
Well,
in this?
yeah, I'm doing a brokerage, so it's not
Okay.
necessarily financing. I handle all the paperwork for sales and buys, and I help people find financing and insurance and all that kind of stuff.
I don't own, but I got my eye on a few because I own a couple houses and a landlord, and I'd like to get a third, fourth, and fifth house, and in that sort of area, I'd like to take some equity out of that and get like a
That's smart.
182.
That's real smart. Yeah, 182 would be perfect up there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean financially,
I
the
would.
club has been kind of pointing toward a 172 is more of a moneymaker, but I'd really got to have
Right.
that 182
Well, I
or an
mean,
Archer 2 or something.
oh yeah, that'd be nice too. I'm a big fan of the high wings. I've only flown a couple of Pipers. The last biennial I did was in a Piper Tomahawk, which is a low wing. And man, the flare is just so much different in those for me.
Yeah.
So it threw me off like crazy. But I'm kind of partial to the high wings because I always flew Cessnas. But I'm also partial to tail wheels because I got my tail wheel endorsement. So I've been looking at like hopefully getting something like a 180 or maybe
Uh-huh.
even a Bear Hawk is my dream airplane. But I don't have time to build it, so I have to buy one later on when
Yeah.
somebody else builds it and gets tired of flying it.
Yeah, yeah, getting a hanger and all that, and then justifying the hanger and maybe sharing it with somebody might be a pain.
Yeah, that's
To find a
awesome though.
way to
So
justify the finances of an aircraft, that's a way to go. I think not just buying one and be like, okay, I guess I got to work overtime. It's
yeah,
probably a lot more into it than that,
well,
but
if you figure out a way to justify it other than just having fun and loving to be in the air, let me know.
yeah,
Yeah,
I sort of learned through Turo. Do you know what Turo is?
I do. Yeah.
Although airplanes probably depreciate at a lower rate than the standard vehicle. I did learn a lot about justifying the two personal vehicles I have by putting 5 or 6 cars on Turo, so they
Oh
pay for
yeah.
themselves and a little bit more.
Yep.
And so maybe I can do that with a couple aircraft.
Yeah, you can get some aircraft. You can either like start a club, or you can do a lease back program if there's any flight schools in your area that would lease back an aircraft. So
Yeah, I'm part of
that's an
Centennial
option.
Flyers here.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So is that the airplane I see you flying online?
Yeah, yeah. There's a multitude. A couple of the videos I have, I think the early videos that I do, I think those are in Salida now. For some reason, they're stationed there. I don't know how much money they make all the way up there, but it'd be pretty cool to drive up there and then start out up there instead of having to worry about getting over the peaks, you know?
Right. Yeah. Well, I've seen you fly, and it looked like the mountain was climbing faster than you were in a couple videos.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I don't know how you felt about that. That made me nervous watching it. I'm like, man, this guy, he's
I,
got more gold than I do.
I can't officially admit that that was me.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's the type of flying everybody wants to do, though. They want to go to the mountains. They want to fly in the valleys and over the tops, and but there's a lot to it. You mentioned that you were taking some kind of mountain flying classes. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Oh, I took a couple ground school classes back in the day, and then in Civil Air Patrol, even though it was years ago, I remember a lot of the survival, sort of leaning towards aviation survival type classes, search and rescue type classes that I had there. Also, during my private pilot ground schooling, there was a lot of mountain type sessions in there, and then I flew with a pretty well known pilot around here. I think he flies medevac now, but he took me
Oh,
up there
nice.
and flew me around and stuff like that. So, and then a little bit of YouTube University, you got to have that in there, right?
Heck yeah. Yeah, I follow a bunch of dudes that do like high altitude or high density altitude flying, and I love watching all of it. I mean, I don't know if you've seen like Trent Palmer. He flies a lot in high altitude,
Yeah.
and then you got the guys like Cleared to Adventure. He flies a lot in Alaska, which he's got a bunch of altitude that he does there. But those guys are insane with just being spot on with everything. There's a lot more planning that goes into it than just down here where your density altitude might be 2,000 feet. So you just hop in and go because you know it's going to fly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Having like a Super Cub, that would be amazing, man. Just you take off from home, go in the back country, and bring your tent, the fishing
Yeah.
rod, and that would be the life. That would be
Yeah. Maybe
awesome.
put some 31s on it or something. That way you can go over
Yeah.
some terrain if you need to.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That would be the life, man, for sure.
I
So
heard Trent Palmer got in trouble because he landed too close to a house. Did you see that video?
yeah, so I'm not sure what the whole story was with that. I know he ended up actually not landing in that situation.
Hmm.
He was coming in and doing a low pass to see if it was a safe spot to land or not, and then somehow he got in trouble for flying within 500 feet of person or property.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So
That's right.
he fought that for a little while. I'm pretty sure by the time the battle was over, his sentencing as far as his being in trouble for it was up. But I'm not really 100% sure how that actually turned out. Maybe we could ask him sometime. Maybe he'll throw a video out there if he sees this. I mean, I'm not as big as any of those guys yet, but hopefully one day they might look back and see this one, and he'll answer that
I
question
bet you
for
could
us.
get his attention one way or another. I mean,
I,
like I've seen your videos. You have a pretty cool uh, podcast going on. I like that idea a lot, and it'll get a lot of attention. I'm pretty sure.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I just started this a couple months ago, so I'm obviously
Cool.
still new at it. I don't know all the tricks and tips and everything like that, but I'm learning. And I just like to tell people stories like you. I mean, I just watched some of your videos on TikTok and reached out to you. And I figured, you look like a guy that has a good aviation story. And so far, you've performed on that. So
Oh,
you
cool.
want to get back
Appreciate that.
into
Thanks,
talking
man.
about a little bit of your service, which I appreciate. Thank you for your service.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
Where was you stationed at most of the time in the Air Force?
I was at Buckley Air Force Base.
Oh, nice. And then you worked on the F-16, which had to be crazy awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. It was wild. When I was in Civil Air Patrol, I saw the same exact jets. We had like some sort of field trip or whatever as a kid, and I'm like, oh man, I'd never be as I'd never be smart enough to work on these one day, And then I'm signing those papers, and next thing you know, the recruiter's like, this is what you're working on. You want basic AIT, and then you're going to come back here and work on these crazy fighters. And we were going to get 35s, but the story was that the density altitude was too high for
Oh wow.
proficiency. I mean, they could perform, but the cost to get them in the air every day is too
Yeah, the
much. So
fuel burn was going to be crazy on that, I bet.
yeah,
Yeah, that is so cool though. So, what is, I don't know if you're even allowed to talk about it. I know some places have like confidential information, and being a jet that's still in working condition or in military service, you might not be able to talk about much of it. But what was one of the like most shocking things that you learned about the F-16 when you worked on it?
how secret it still is.
When were they put in service? Like back in the 70s, 80s?
Yeah, I think late '60s was the first
Oh wow.
declassified mission.
Wow. So they've been around for a long time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were built to just have a 1,000 or 2 hours on the airframe, and they ended up being such a good multi-role aircraft that they just kept going and kept going. It's amazing.
That is really awesome. And you played a vital role in keeping those things going. So that's really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of camaraderie in that too. It's a lot going into it. We had really good leadership, and I'm sure they still do now. They're flying still at Buckley, and yeah, there's just you have good leadership, and then you have good recruitment. You have good training. I think those are the key pillars for a great unit success. So,
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So whenever you got out of the military, I'm guessing is when you went back and got your private license. Is that correct?
uh, it was just before I got out of the military. I got out in 2012, did 10 years. Uh, yeah, 2011. So a year before I got out, I officially got my license.
That's awesome. And did you train part 141, part 61?
I did the private instructor. So
Okay. That's cool. So you did part 61 up there. It was in Denver where you did it at, up there by, I'm guessing by the Air Force Base.
I started at Rocky Mountain Metro, and I got my license there. And then my instructor moved to Centennial, and I thought I've got to follow this guy. He's like everybody's saying he's one of the best guys out there, so I can't just jump from instructor to instructor. And
Right. Yeah.
personality matched and all that. He was in the Peruvian Air Force, and
That's
so
awesome. Yeah, it's really hard to let go of that first instructor, man. Mine was a really
yeah,
cool dude, and you kind of just like melt to them in a way that like that is everything you know about aviation. You just want to hold on to that because it's
yeah,
comfortable.
yeah. Just the sense of humor was amazing. Like he'd try to break my concentration on final and start quoting like airplane or something. Good luck.
Right?
We're all
Yeah.
counting on you. And it's like I got 200 feet AGL. I got to concentrate.
Right. It's like, what happened to a sterile cockpit, man? Come on.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So, what was one thing that you kind of struggled at during your private, or was there anything even?
I've been hearing this a lot more recently now that I've sort of come out more with this experience. But literally, my last solo before my DPE, I had pretty severe turbulence. I had trouble keeping the blue side up. I'll
Oh
just say
wow.
that. Like it was insane. I was just sitting there with the yoke, like it was blowing me to the right, trying to flip me upside down. I had the yoke all the way to the left, and I'm sitting here like what the heck is going on here? Like is this normal? And I had to land at Fort Morgan halfway back from Akron, and oh, it was wild. And so the thing I struggled with the most was the fear of flying for a little bit.
Oh,
Like
that's
I
totally
had,
understandable.
that was
Yeah.
wild. After that landing, I'm like, I'm alive. But
Yes. A situation like that definitely will scare you, and rightfully so, because one mistake at that kind of situation and could be your last mistake.
yeah,
But
yeah, true.
I'm glad that you made it through. Obviously, you're sitting here today, so you figured out a way to get it down on the ground safely.
Yeah, Yeah, and if I were to say anything about that with new student pilots, like if you experience anything weird or anything like that, just check your confidence and check how often you go, and when you go, just remind yourself that you are capable of controlling the aircraft, and the wind isn't going to hurt you unless it's crazy bad. I think what I experienced was just moderate to severe, and it wasn't anything dangerous unless I was not paying attention or too low or things like
Right.
that. So
Yeah, you had your safety nets there that you build in for yourself. Make sure you have enough altitude. Make sure you're, you know, at a good airspeed that you can maneuver the aircraft safely, but obviously not too slow to lose maneuverability on your control surfaces. Did you think about going back with an instructor after that flight to kind of get your confidence back, or did you just jump back in and go on your own?
the very next flight was the checkout, and
Oh wow.
I was thinking about it today actually. I'm like, what do I say to? Because I knew that question was going to come up. I was like, what do I say to that? And I think just having the TP next to me sort of masked the developing fear and the subsequent flights after I obtained my certificate. Um, it sort of grew on me, and I'd realized that I started to lose confidence. But
That's awesome.
I developed a really good technique to um, acquiring my confidence back, and I actually learned that Chuck Yeager had a lot of fear, and
Yes, he.
his solution was studying the aircraft and studying the maneuvers very very in depth, and
Yep.
that's what got him
Yeah, he wanted to learn
going.
everything about the aircraft, how it worked, why it worked a certain way, what happens if this happens, what this instrument runs off of, what it's connected to. That way he knew everything about it, so he didn't have any fear of, well, if something were to go wrong, I wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure ejecting at 68,000 feet probably didn't help, but or whatever it
Yeah,
was.
right. Yeah, no, that,
All
that
the
definitely would not have
craziness.
helped. Yeah. Yeah, he's done a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Did you hear
So,
that story about he broke his arm or his collarbone riding a horse, and he had to break off a broom handle so that because he was in a sling, and he had to use it to reach over to close the locking mechanism for the canopy.
no, I didn't hear that.
So he flew with a broom handle one time, a couple times.
Wow. There's nothing keeping that guy out of the air, I guess. Jeez.
Yeah,
I think I would have just taken some time off and healed.
yeah.
Didn't you make a video where it looked like your dog took the controls of the airplane?
Oh yeah, that was AI generated.
I figured because the dog grew a hand, but it was
Yeah,
still
yeah,
funny. I've seen a couple different dogs in your videos actually, so I didn't know what was going on there, but it seemed pretty cool.
yeah. One of them, he's sitting right there on the bed. He's been weightless a few times, and he didn't mind it the first couple times. The last time he was shaking a little bit, and I'm like, okay, I better take it easy. And the other ones are fine. Like they jump in and they're like, let's go grocery shopping or whatever we're doing.
Right, that's awesome. You said you fly a lot up in the mountainous area, and you fly a 172, but you'd rather have a 182. Do you feel like the aircraft limits your abilities, or do you feel like you have a limitation that is lesser than the aircraft at this point?
Um, the way I was taught from my instructor was that if you are dedicated enough and you study enough, you can be as capable as you can allow yourself. But the boundary between the end of your capability and the dangerous area is the weather and not paying attention and not knowing enough about when to not go. So
Right.
it's like he would always say the person who is not scared of weather has a psychological problem. So like,
I I don't know if you've seen the first intro episode of this podcast where I talked about a mistake that I made as a student pilot due to weather, and I agree with that statement. If you're not a little bit afraid of the weather, whenever there's some stuff coming in, you got a problem.
yeah. Did you see that recent video that came out with the guys who punched through Hurricane Aaron? I think it's Aaron right now.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
They have those four turboprop. I forgot what kind of aircraft that was, but every time they go into the eye, it's like that you can just tell they have so much experience flying, and you just look into their eyes, and they're still terrified every time they do it. They're just like, "This is our hurricane, okay?" And we're gonna go into the eye. It's terrifying every time. They're just bouncing around. There's like electrical equipment just falling off everywhere, and so
Oh,
yeah,
that's
it
insane.
probably nothing to ever get over. It's always gonna rattle you.
Definitely. Yeah, that would be one of those moments where you look at the guy next to you and you're like, why did we sign up for this?
Yeah, exactly.
Where do you want to go with aviation? Like, do you want to just continue to enjoy aviation as a private pilot, or are you looking to eventually move up and get a commercial and a CFI, or you just wanting to get into corporate?
I think Trent Palmer is a really uh, good way to explain what I'd like to do. Just explore.
Yeah,
Have like a Super Cub with those winglets and big
yeah.
Alaskan tires.
There you go.
My dog's fishing pole and a tent.
Hey,
That'd
Trent
be the dream.
Palmer, he's living the life, man. He's worked a lot to get there. He's probably one of the smartest pilots that I've ever listened to. The dude is
Yeah,
insanely smart,
he
but
is. Yeah.
he is definitely living the life, man.
No, he has a Kit Fox. That's right. Kit Fox,
Not
right?
anymore. He sold the Kit Fox to a guy in Texas, and now
Mm.
he flies a Legend Cub that they just got done building for him. It's got the turbocharged 916 in it. He's got
Wow.
a special prop that he put on there. I mean, he's got all kinds of stuff. That thing is insane.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's
That's
pretty
great.
insane, man. Hopefully, you get to the point where you can just buy whatever you want and go fly and have a good time. I know you said you're trying to get some more houses and financially
Hmm.
stable before you do so. That's actually really smart. I want to buy an airplane and fly around and do all kinds of fun stuff. And I don't have any houses or anything making money. I just work. And then I started this brokerage on the side that I'm trying to get going. So hopefully that is where my airplane money comes in at eventually.
That's amazing because a part of me wants to really dive in deep in the business side too. Like one of the dreams I've had, kind of still do. It would be a fascinating pathway in life to take to just walk out to the flight line and see like a row of Gulf Streams, and you're like, you know what, I've made it. All the struggles and all the learning, all the failures. That would be like a beautiful end goal to have. Just a fleet of jets that are all yours. Well, I mean, your investors too, or whatever. But
Right.
and you're doing it.
So
You
your
just take
dream is
whatever.
to own a 135 operation at that point.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, even if it happened that way.
That
But
would be really awesome.
you never know what kind of opportunities come your way. I mean,
You never do,
like
yeah.
just being a pilot. What if I was in a different state in Civil Air Patrol that never even had a flying wing or an association with aircraft?
Well, that's why I try to get everybody to realize about aviation is when you're in aviation, the community is so strong that there's always opportunities here and there that even when you're not looking for them, just whenever you grow your network to a certain extent, people are going to reach out to you and be like, hey, do you have a commercial rating? Do you have this? Do you want to do this? Would you like to get into this? It's insane.
Yeah, it's endless.
Yeah.
It's just
I
endless.
just learned the other day that there's a different type of flying called contract flying, which is kind of like charter, but you're flying other people's airplanes that they own, and you just contracted as the pilot, which is crazy. I never knew that existed, but I was listening to Pilot the Pilot podcast the other day, and his guest Evan something. He was a Canadian pilot, and that's
Uh
what
huh.
he does. He was wanting to get into the airlines at one point, and then got into this contract flying, and now he says he's never going to go into the airlines because this is so much more free.
Yeah, yeah. That's one of the reasons why I quit my engineering job and I started up my own mobile mechanic business. I've been doing
Oh,
that for a
nice.
while, and
That's really
just
cool.
wanted the
So
freedom. The 9 to 5 sitting at a computer all day was just driving me crazy.
yeah, I get that sometimes. What is kind of mechanic business do you have?
It's just a mobile automotive mechanic.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's put a bunch of tools in the back of my truck and put myself on Marketplace, and Nextdoor and all the apps, and people reach out to
Hey,
me, give them a quote, and go to
you
business.
got to grind it to make it, man. That's awesome. I'm glad
Yeah,
that you were able to, break free of the office life and kind of build this for yourself. That way, you have more time for what you really want. That's awesome.
yeah. It's very freeing because I can do some diagnostics in the morning, come home, take a nap if I want to, and then go do another job in the evening.
That's cool. That's really cool, man. All right, so I ask everybody the same question, and I'm gonna ask you the same question.
Uh,
If money was no factor, so you already have all your Gulf Streams lined up, right? And you could buy one aircraft for personal use, what would it be and why?
P-51
The original
for
or like a replica?
original,
There
absolutely
you go.
original.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that would be for the reason of I've always felt like I was born 40, 50 years too late. I've always wanted to be that World War II fighter pilot,
There you go.
1,400 horsepower starting up against the adversaries and just fly into the sky and as best as you can with that kind of vintage aircraft.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I know the P-51 is one of the most iconic aircraft of World War II. I don't know. Have you ever looked into the scale wings P-51s that they have? They're like a scaled down version.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
those things are insane. They're aerobatic. They're
Yeah.
fast. Like it's
Yeah.
insane, man. But that's awesome. So
It's
P-51 is
amazing.
your dream plane.
That's a really tough question though too, because I mean
Oh, I
it's
know.
flip flopped to so many different like a MiG. What would it be like to fly a MiG? What would it be like to fly the Wright Flyer like first time? What was that like?
I, I would be
It's
scared
just
of that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
just a belt driven propeller.
Right.
What they fly 120 feet or something like that?
I think that was the farthest one, but that was like attempt number like 7 or 8 or
Yeah,
something like that. I can't
yeah.
remember. Maybe 4 or 5. I can't remember. But they took turns. So one brother did it the one time, then the other brother, and they were basically like competing with each other, trying to see who could go farther.
Wonder what their rollout distance would have been. A couple thousand feet for 120 feet.
Right? Yeah, I have no idea. That would be insane. I know you can go out to Kill Devil's Hill in North Carolina, and you can go to where they flew at. Everybody calls it Kitty Hawk, but Kitty Hawk was the place where they did the telegraph from. So they had to go to Kitty Hawk to send a telegram or telegraph to
Hmm.
let everybody know that they had flown. But they actually
Oh.
flew in Kill Devil's Hill.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So
Wow.
yeah, just a little tidbit of information there that a lot of
Yeah.
people don't think about. Yeah,
I didn't know that. That's awesome. That makes
yeah.
sense.
All right, Coy. Well, it's been great having you. I really appreciate you taking the time out to talk with me. And before we go, I want to tell you all it's a great thing the aviation uses Zulu time because I am new at this and I messed up. I flip flopped our time zones. So this was actually supposed to happen at a later time for him and a way earlier time for me. However, he was cool enough to kind of get in there early, and so I didn't have to wait as long before I get off here and put my kids to bed. But yeah,
Oh
Zulu time.
man.
From now on, I'm using Zulu time for this. And
Yeah.
if you want to set up a time with me, we're going off Zulu. I don't care because I'm not doing the time zone mess ups anymore. I've done it too many times.
Oh well. Good luck with people from Arizona. Oh, they don't have the time change, right?
Oh yeah,
Is that what it is? Is it Arizona?
I think so. Arizona, Indiana used to be one of those too that didn't do daylight
Yeah.
savings. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
So
if we weren't flexible with time, I don't think aviation would work out for most of us.
yeah, definitely
Because
not. Yeah.
you get so pumped and you get your hopes up to go fly, and you're like, oh, I got to wait 2 hours because it's raining right now. So you just got to
Right.
learn to
Yeah.
be patient.
Oh, the wind's gusting to 20. I should probably wait that out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if you have to deal with this in the mountainous area. You probably have a different type of fog. But down here in the mornings it's really foggy. But then after the sun comes up, it kind of dissipates just by the
Oh,
sunlight heating up, because the dew point and the temperature separate. So the fog goes away.
that's a pretty rare occurrence, but it does still happen. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
So
That'd be awesome to fly
I,
above that.
I ran in, yeah, well, I ran into that a lot in school. So my flight slots were always in the morning, and I would get out to the airport all excited to go, and I'd get there, and we had no visibility because of the fog. So
Uh-huh.
we would sit there and hopefully wait until the fog dissipated, and if it didn't dissipate within my flight slot, I didn't get a fly that day.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that was fun.
Yeah, that's how it
All right,
goes sometimes. Well, it
Coy,
was a
I
pleasure,
really
man.
appreciate you talking to me. Yeah, we'll keep in touch. You know, if you're ever down around the Kansas City area, holler at me. We'll go out and get a bite to eat or something.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
if I'm
Definitely, man.
ever up by Denver, I'll stop by and we'll hang out for a little bit.
Yeah, take you in the mountains, show you around a little
Heck
bit.
yeah, man. That'll be cool.
Thank you for inviting me on here. It's awesome, dude. I really look forward to all the videos you're gonna make.
I appreciate it, man. And, you know, like I said, hopefully you get everything that you want out of aviation. You got a great attitude. Seems like you're smart enough to kind of don't put the cart before the horse kind of thing. So I think you'll do good. And as
Thanks.
always, folks, success starts with a positive attitude. So